Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be my quarantine day 5, even though yesterday was day 5 and I didn't post anything. But this is my quarantine sketchbook day 5. Yesterday I painted my laptop case, which is right here. I painted my laptop case because I didn't want to use what resources I do have. So I decided to make my laptop all nice and pretty. And because the top of it was all scuffed up, so I made it look all pretty. And I do have a protector down there that I can slide it in so that when it's in my backpack, the actual picture does not get messed up. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I'm very excited to do more things since you guys seem to really like that video. I intend on doing more things like that. But for now, today is going to be this sketchbook. And I am reusing the same piece of wax paper that I've been using for a palette because I want to save what resources I do have. As you know, there's a global pandemic going on right now in quarantine. I don't want to go to art stores to constantly buy art supplies, so I am trying really hard to save what supplies I have left, which is not much. I do have other materials. I have oil paints. I have watercolor, which I do have my oil paint idea video coming up hopefully soon. I haven't started on it, but maybe this quarantine, being stuck in my room all alone, will inspire me to do that because I want to do more interactive things with you guys. And today's sketchbook video is going to be a talk through on how to quickly build a landscape like I've been doing with the other sketchbook days. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get more white paint. So, I am going to do, if I can get it out from under this thing, I am going to be painting my earbud case. This is something I found at Dollar Tree. It now holds my Apple Air earbuds and my normal earbuds from my laptop. So I was going to paint this side and this side eventually, so I'm going to be doing that video. And without further ado, I'm going to put the paint on my palette and I'm going to... A ghost knocked all that stuff over. And I am going to start working on this painting. So let's get to it, shall we? That little side note is over. Now I am going to set you guys up, or attempt to set you guys up. Having a little bit of difficulty with this gorilla stand. Okay. Alright. I think that's a good enough angle. I'm going to put the paint on my palette and then I'm going to start showing you how to build a landscape from just using techniques. So I'm gonna pull this old paint off. Now let's get to it. I have paint now on my palette. I'm gonna put all of these colors back so that I have the towel where I can wipe my paintbrush off. So I don't use paper towel to do that anymore. That's really wasteful, and especially right now, that's extremely wasteful to do. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that building a landscape is really easy if you have an idea of what you want it to be. Like, if you have an idea for mountains, you just figure out where you want the mountains to be, where you want the land to be, then you block in the colors, and then you add the details in after you've blocked in the colors, and that's pretty much the simplest way I can explain for the landscape building. Alright, So today I want to do more of a, I want to say beach, like a lake scene with a mountain and then a lake and then land right here and then like some trees on the side. So that is my idea for today. So I'm coming in with my cerulean blue with a dry brush. I usually use a dry brush to start with, just because I don't want too much streaks in with the background. Granted, you are going to layer up, so keep that in mind. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Right now we are just doing the sky. Now you need to figure out where you want your horizon, and I think where I want my horizon is right around here. So I'm just gonna draw in a line, and then I'm gonna go in with some white paint directly, and we're gonna mix the two colors right on the paper. Now this isn't like a technique that I think you should use all the time. It's just right now we're just having fun. We're not doing anything serious. This is in our sketchbook. It's not meant to be a completed full-on masterpiece. We're meant to play and learn and do all the fun stuff. Now what you can do with your sky is you don't have to do the kind of sky I'm doing. I'm doing a simple sky with a little bit of clouds. The white is meant to like be the distant sky, because the closer sky is a little darker than your distant sky. That's what I have learned anyway when it comes to painting. So we're just going to work on this and keep blending until we are happy with what our sky looks like. Now I am going to do a little bit of mountains today, just in the distance. So I know you think that you should go straight in with black for the mountains, but actually no. What you want to do is you want to use a very similar color to your sky color for the distant mountains. It'll be a little more realistic. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue, a little bit of this white, and I'm actually going to throw in a little bit of magenta just to give it kind of a purpley color. Oh, see, we have kind of a purple color. And it's still the same sky color on the brush as well. I didn't even bother cleaning it. And now we're going to draw. If you are too nervous to use a large brush like this, you could have switched to a more smaller brush, but since I have been painting for a while, I kind of already know some techniques, which I do intend to show you in future videos. I kind of feel confident enough to use the larger brush, but if you're not as confident with yourself, that's okay. This is, again, all fun. You are building your world. You're doing what you want to do. You don't even exactly have to place your mountains how I've placed mine. You can do them differently. You can put them even higher up. You can even add an extra one. But mine are going to be simple in the background, and I'm going to actually make this a little darker because it's a little too light. I want to avoid using black in the background as much as possible. So, there, I think that's good. Now, the thing I love about acrylic is you can layer light paint over dry dark paint. And you'll have to do a couple of layers, of course, but if you make a mistake, it's really, really easy to fix. It's really, really easy to fix. And that's what I love most about acrylic paint, is because acrylic paint is a lot more forgiving than a lot of other mediums. Yes, watercolor is also forgiving, Right now, I am doing a little bit of white highlights on part of the mountains, right in the peaks of each of the mountain peak, just to give it some detail and definition. So, alright, now that we have our mountains in, I am actually going to rinse off my brush now. And I have warm water. You don't have to use warm water, it's just something that I like to use to get paint off my brush. It's also very important to always keep your paint water clean, and I understand it's very difficult to have to always leave your desk to go change paint water. That's okay. I used to be that way too. I used to leave paint water sit for days and reuse and reuse and reuse, and I've gotten back into the habit of changing my paint water. So alright, enough with that rant. We're going to move on to our background, river, lake, whatever you would like to call it. So we're going to take our same blue color. We're going to use a little bit of the pink to make it a dark blue color, and a little bit of green. And we're just going to keep adding it until we get a mix that we like. Again, this is the base color of the water. So once you get a color that you like for your water, you go right in here with the mountain, the bottoms of the mountains, and you start drawing in your background water. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying inside as much as you possibly can. I just added a little bit of white for the bottom part of the water, the closer it is. And I'm going to draw where I want my shoreline, just like we did with the sky. It'll all make sense, I promise, once we start building up our landscape. This is how I work with all of my landscapes that I just spring up out of the blue, is I just use these techniques, and they're very helpful. They're very universal for a lot of things. Okay. Now we have our water drawn in, painted in, whatever you would like to call it. Okay. So this is where it is completely up to you. You can do a little bit of a beach shoreline, and that is completely okay. That's normal. That's a natural thing. I think I'm going to sort of skip it because, like I said, I'm going to be drawing a bunch of trees in the foreground. I'm going to cover up most of this. This is purely just the background. So I'm going to go straight in with some black, and I'm just going to fill this whole bottom area with some black paint, and then we're going to build up our details. Alright, so our background is done. We're going to let this background dry. Alright, so now everything is dry, and I was thinking I want to add very small distant trees at this edge of the water, this end, and those are going to be very easy to do. So I'm going to take some of the magenta blue to make it a really dark color. A little bit of burnt sienna. once you have the mix that you like. Mine looks like this. Yours doesn't have to look exact. I'm gonna go in and just do Bob Ross style trees all along this shore edge. Now you can use a fan brush if you are confident enough. Like I said, I have experience with using like these smaller brushes for trees a lot in my landscape paintings. So I am just going to go in all across here with this one brush. And what you want to do is you want to separate the heights of these trees. You don't want them to be exactly the same height all the way across. You want to be able to tell where they are. So I'm curious. I really am curious to know what you guys have been doing to keep yourselves entertained during quarantine. What sort of skills have you been working on? What have you started that you may never would have done before? Are you doing any fun things? I have been playing a lot of The Sims. I do not have Wi-Fi. So I don't really get to be able to like play any online games. I don't own any Xbox or anything like that. So I've just been doing a lot of like Netflix and chill on my phone in my bed and riding my bike whenever I can. Because we are allowed out a couple of times a week. So whenever I feel safe enough to go out, I ride my bike around. So I used to be able to get my Wi-Fi from Starbucks, but with Starbucks being closed, I haven't been able to. So I haven't really had much chance to be able to do what I normally do. And I'm hoping in a couple of months I will be able to start my website back up. And I'll be able to start accepting orders again. Now, when you run out of paint, just keep doing that same mixture. The blue, pink, and a little bit of burnt sienna. So I'm going to do a little bit of a taller tree here. I've also been sewing a lot more. I have noticed that. I've picked up more on my sewing skills. I've been teaching myself more sewing techniques, which I do intend on making a video soon for sewing. Because sewing is a very simple and easy skill. Once you learn it, it's like really easy to make a lot of things. So I was hoping to do that. If you guys want to see that, let me know. So yeah, we're almost done with these background trees. Now, one of my best tips though would be to take your time. Like if you're wanting to actually make something that's not just in a sketchbook, time is your best friend when it comes to art. It takes lots of time and lots of practice and lots of patience. I know you're probably tired of hearing that, but that honestly really is the best advice that I can give you for when it comes to creating art. Alright, so we're gonna put that rant to the side. I'm also going to take this same color and just swish it down into the water so that there's a reflection. Because this is water, water reflects. You don't want to have your brush fully loaded for this technique, because you don't want thick globs of this color in the water. What shows are you guys watching during this quarantine? I have been watching a lot of The Office. Then again, I watch The Office a lot anyway. Normally, I'm sort of addicted to that show. So, The Office is one of my favorite shows. I've also been watching the Once Upon a Time show, and I've been rewatching Supernatural. I finally started Outlander. I love Outlander. So now we are going to work on this section, the black section. This is the undercolor for our grass. And what we're going to do is we're going to take black and we are going to take
Yellow,
lots
not
of
white.
And we are going to mix a green color. Now, I know I have green already on my palette, but that's not the shade or tone of green that I want to start out with. I want to start out with a more olivey color green, and when you mix black and yellow, it makes a really good olive green color. Now, I'm not saying exactly which colors I'm using because you can use variations of colors. It doesn't have to be exactly the colors I am using. So once you have your shade of green mixed to the way that you would like it, make sure you have a good amount of it. This is the undertone of our grass. I'm going to get off as much of that paint as possible. Now we're going to take a fan brush. Fan brushes are really good for grass, and it's really good to make these trees that we did here. But with these being so small, this would have been too big to start those trees out with. So I'm going to rinse this brush so that I don't forget it and leave it there. I'm going to wet this brush just a little bit. And then we're going to go right in and load our brush up with the green color. So now we're just going to stamp on some grass. And I'm going to fill this whole area. It's important to leave some spaces so that you can see the dark underneath. And then you'll start to get the grassy effect texture. So I'm just going to fill this whole section up just like so. And I'm gonna lighten this up some. And we're gonna go back through again, and this time we're gonna leave more gaps. You wanna pay attention to your light source. So I'm only gonna keep the light part right up here towards the edge of the water. I'm going to add a little bit of white. Just for another tone of light, and then just gently do this little stamp texture. Alright, now we have a grass in. Now it's going to be time for our foreground trees. Now we're going to do some of these in the foreground and they're going to be bigger. So I'm going to take this smaller brush and I'm going to go straight in with black. Now, if you're not confident, you can let this grass dry before you go in with the trunk. But I'm going to figure out where I want my trees placed. And I do know I want one right about here. And I'm going to draw one up. And I'm going to have one way at the edge here. Alright. Now you can use a dry fan brush for this, but I am gonna just go in with the same brush with straight up black. I'm gonna fill and load this brush up with black. If you need to reload your black paint, you can totally do so right now because I'm gonna end up needing to. So, sorry about that, my phone died. So now our brush is loaded with black. We're gonna start out really tiny, and we're just gonna do a crisscross motion. And then as it gets lower, we're going to get larger and larger and larger. It's important not to make it look too uniformed because in nature, trees are not uniformed at all. So just once you get down to the bottom, you should have something that looks pretty similar to mine. It's okay if it's not because this technique takes a lot of practice to get the hang of. And I'm going to do the exact same for this tree off camera, but since you saw how this tree looks, it's going to be the exact same for this tree. So now both trees are done. We're going to go straight in with the green color that we did for the grass. Make sure you have enough. And we're going to go in the same exact way. And we're just going to do our crisscross stamping motion. Once again, you want to leave some of that black showing because it's going to show depth in your painting. It's going to be able to distinguish the details. And we're going to do the exact same, only our green, our light color is going to be on this side of the tree. We're going to have our dark on that side because our lighting is basically going to be right around here. So, once again, leave a good amount of space on each branch to be able to distinguish. And then there you have it. Now I'm going to go an extra step and I'm going to take some burnt sienna and a little bit of black. And we're going to make like a dark brown. And then we're going to go in and draw our trunks. We're going to skip some spaces, but we're going to do our detailing in our trunks. You don't have to do this, it's not necessary to do, but I like to do it just to show some depth into it. Now, this can be done. You can be done with this and it would look perfectly a-okay. I want to add some like detail rocks, and I'm going to use the same color, and I'm just going to place some random rocks around in this area. Just for just plain detailing. Because this is meant to be like a mountain-esque painting, so I want to have the feel of it being a mountain. So we're going to add some white now to the same mixture. And again, like the trees, you're going to choose your one side of where you want the light to go. And you got to figure out where your lighting source is. Your lighting source is yours to choose. Now, since my trees all have it on this side, not all of these rocks are going to show lighting. So these rocks right in this section are all going to have some highlights. And we're going to keep these background rocks dark because those are in the shaded parts. So just like that. I hope you can see this very well. And we are just about done. Like I said, you can go ahead and call yours done. You don't have to do the amount of detailing that I'm doing, but I want to add some like pretty little floral aspects around here. And I am going to take a small brush. I'm going to take some white, some magenta, and mix it together. Like a very pale pinky color. Once you get the color you like, you can just figure out where you want your colors to be, where you want your flowers to be. So we're just gonna add little dots, basically, because they're gonna be very small. You're only adding an indication that there are flowers here. And you can add all sorts of colors to your flowers. I'm making a little purple. Alright guys, so this is our finished painting. I hope you enjoyed. If you followed along and watched the entire video, thank you for those who did. I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone stays well. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and click the subscribe to see more. And don't forget to leave a comment down below to let me know how you guys are doing and what you guys are doing to stay busy. I'm very curious. I hope everyone is well. And I'm so thankful for the constant support from all of you. You all are 100% amazing, and I love you. And I will see you on Quarantine Sketchbook Day 6. Alright guys, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you on the next video. Alright, bye.